Hello everyone, welcome back to Tanchaz Talk, the world's only English language program focusing primarily on Hungarian folk music. I am your host, Kalman Magyar Öcsi, coming to you today from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Today, it's time to take a break from the news, from Supreme Court nominations and daily COVID infection reports and stock market fluctuations and all the drama, and time to enjoy some music and some stories with me. Today's episode I've titled "While the Dancers Change." I'll talk about that in a minute, but let me just acknowledge a new setup I have here. You might hear the difference already. A little more crisp audio using an actual microphone now. Unfortunately, Facebook Live is really cracking down on kind of long form shows, and they don't want people using it for that anymore. So now I'm recording directly onto my computer, and hopefully this will sound a little better, be a little nicer. Although I will miss the back and forth on the live shows. This is the best way of getting the music and stories, and of course the interviews out to you as well. So when you have these performances, of course during non-pandemic times, we have shows that bands play live. There's always live music, and the dance groups will be performing, and they do a 2-hour show, like 2 times 50 minutes with an intermission in between, something like that. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter, but the point is that oftentimes the band will be asked to do a musical number while the dancers change here and there. So you might have one of these or 2 of these in the show. These are like always, hey, can it be 2 minutes? Nope, too short. Can it be 5 minutes? Nope, too long. So they're kind of like usually 3 to 4 minutes long. And the musical numbers obviously need to be compelling and have some kind of theme, potentially introduce some instrumentation that might not otherwise be in the performance, and should be very snappy. So I put a show together today for you, While the Dancers Change, which features the music that some really, really good appropriate music. And the great thing about all these pieces that they are indeed between 3 and 4 minutes long, and I think you'll enjoy it. The first number is Nodara, the band Nodara from Transylvania. Violin played by Tocsila from Szászcsavas. Here comes the band. A couple of days ago I was watching a live feed on Facebook from the Mérai Csúd Festival, the music festival from Méra, and these guys were playing. It was really, really a nice concert. You have a contra there playing, but also you have little guitar there, of course the bass, accordion, a nice violin, saxophone. The one criticism I would have that this melody they play about 4 or 5 times. They could have played another melody, and they know about 1,000 of them. What? They're gonna play it again? Oh boy. But it's all snappy, it's all good. Nice backup accompaniment. Zsuki csártás. Little trading fours, that's nice. I hope the dancers are almost done changing because this piece is almost over. Another band that was playing the Mérai Csúd Festival, the Night Losers, a really fun Transylvanian blues band. Maybe I'll play some of their music in the next couple of episodes somewhere. Yeah, snappy. That's Nadara, Cigánycsárdás, and Csingerálás. A lot of my big... most extensive performing experience in terms of performing with one singular group was the Tamburitsins of Duquesne University in the 90s. Probably did over 400 shows over the course of 4 years. It was a wonderful experience. In exchange, I got a scholarship to attend Duquesne University, where I studied business. We would travel, in the bus. The bus had Tamburitsins written on the side, and hop on the bus on the Friday after class and did a show somewhere, probably Friday evening, and then maybe traveled overnight, and then Saturday show, Sunday show, and then back in time for school on Monday. That was the usual drill. We try to get the shows, about three hours ahead of time, because we had everything in the bus. So we had the sound system. We had to set up the lighting system, whatever lighting system there might have been at the facility, but all the instruments needed to be tuned, and all the costumes, importantly, had to be, ironed or steamed or whatever. But I remember once we arrived not 3 hours early, but I think about 30 minutes late. I think it was in Kansas City. There was some huge storm, or the bus broke down, or there was something going on. I don't really remember the details, but people were already in the audience, and we were literally setting up the sound system, bringing the snake and all the. That's where all the microphone cables are contained within the snake down the hall, and then setting up the stage, and all the audience members were looking at us. They hung in there, and I think we set up that place in about 25 minutes and did the show. But that's usually not advisable to arrive so tight. Not just before showtime, but in that case after showtime. There's a lot of changing going on there, and I'll tell you another story or two about that. A lot of costumes in the Tamburitsins show, of course, from all over Eastern Europe. But let's get back to some music. This is another nice number from the Cifra band from the CDs. You remember those old Tanchaztalalkozo CDs? I don't know if they still make them, but Tanchaztalalkozo CDs were nice every year. Nice little snappy numbers from groups that you usually would never hear otherwise. So it was really nice to get to know some other groups, of course, some famous bands as well. And I unearthed some of my collection of Tanchaztalalkozo discs or records, and I'll be playing some of those pieces today because they really fit well into that kind of snappy 3 or 4 minute arrangement. This is the Cifra band playing music from Kelet Mezőség, from East Mezőség, Román, Romanian music. Of course, the Cifra band, there are many bands named Cifra, including the one in Edmonton, but these guys are Szabó Viktor, the violinist from Mezőkölpény, the left-handed violinist, and he played music from all over that area. Ági bácsi on the brácsa, Barta Ágoston, Liber Robi playing the bass. And these guys busked on the streets of Switzerland for many years, actually. Literally, they were street musicians in Switzerland and made an interesting living that way in the summers there. On the cimbalom Csurkolya József, by the way, from the Tanchaztalalkozo 1994 CD, Cifra band. Nice. Cimbi solo. Always good when the dancers change to feature the cimbalom. Lovely, Cifra band. Yeah, they were busking on the street, Szabó Viktor and these other Ági bácsi. That's the guy with the really funny little glasses. A nice musician, plays the tekerő, plays a really mean hurdy-gurdy. And of course our good friend Liber Robi playing the bass on that one. So I'm thinking back, of the various outfits, speaking of changing and being a dancer or whatnot. I remember the Tambritsons, the weirdest outfit I had to wear was from the area of Detva, Slovakia. It's a funny outfit. It's like a Dallas cheerleader outfit for a guy. You have like these pants, and then you had like a thick belt, like a gimeshi belt, and then a short cut-off shirt. So your stomach and your kind of chest area is exposed. And it was funny because I was like, I am still quite hairy. It's time for a shave, by the way, here. But it was very, very funny outfit, funny looking. And then I had to stand in the middle of the stage and play the fujara, which is the Slovak wind instrument. It goes that one. So there I was, like half naked, playing the fujara in the Tambritsons. Well, if you missed it, sorry. Speaking of Slovak stuff, Slovak's up next. This is from a live recording played by Zodva, the Zodva band, who was great band. They're supposed to come to Chipket camp this past summer, but obviously canceled with the pandemic. But we'll get them back. These wonderful young musicians. This is a really cool arrangement from Slovakia, and it's a recorded live actually. Classic Slovak song. That's what I'm talking about, a snappy arrangement, you know, kind of little change of tempo. It's perfect, a short 3 or 4 minute crowd pleaser like this. Clarinet solo, love it. Fish, hoppa. Yeah, up, up. That must be like oh, I stepped onto it. Oh, and there's a live audience. That's piped in crowd noise, pandemic times. No, seriously, that is live. That must be like some kind of cifro, you know, at the end of a Slovak song. And I stepped on the pam pam pam, which is called the prik prot prut at the end of that song. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, wardrobe malfunctions is also a big part of of you know, the Hungarian folk performing and any performing experience. I remember when I was a kid, I'll never forget it. The guy's name of Kalman Berci. Berci was a dancer in the Hungarian dance group in New York, and you know, Hungarian, we wear the gotya, you know, that the baggy white pants. Well, Berci's, you know, and it's like really held up like with a string. It's like an elastic. So when that thing breaks, man, it's over. It's coming off because they're made to be baggy. And and Berci's gotya, he had a quick change, and he came onto the stage and he started dancing with the stick. You know, it requires sometimes two hands, and meanwhile his gotya's falling off. So he's trying to hold his gotcha with his elbow, and then we're like, get off stage, man, fix your gotcha. So he runs off and he fixes it, and he comes back on and starts falling again. So this guy had his pants off half the show. It's somewhere on video. I remember we watched it about 667 times when we were kids after it happened. So that's my Kalman Berci malfunction story. Now, speaking of the old days, let's go play some Eletfa, some vintage Eletfa off the album Gyökereink. This is music from Northern Mezőség, from Magyar Jr. This is myself and my sister and Pap Attila playing, and I think Heki playing as well, Garta József on the contra. A nice little snappy arrangement from Magyar Jr. Played a lot of shows back in the day with Eletfa as well, performing together with all various dance groups, and of course that's traditions continued with Gyanta. Our band is constantly called on to play for various dance groups all over the place and festivals and the like, and play these little short vignette numbers while the dancers change. Little harmony. Ooh. Solos during the musical number here. Hey, that ended abruptly. That's a nice, like a showpiece number there. One of my funniest costume-related stories we were performing with the Tamburitsins. Of course, it's an old Tamburitsin story, and there was a very, very quick costume change for some of the musicians, including me. And we had to go from wearing that gotyo, the big pants that I was talking about, to black pants. And we had like 45 seconds to do it during like some musical intro. So we really had to change quickly. And the solution was that we would wear the pants, and then on top of the pants we would wear those baggy white pants, the gotyo. So it was a Croatian number at the beginning of the show. So pretty much I was wearing two pants, and also we did the same solution with the shirts. So kind of looking baggier, bigger than usual. And that's what we did for the beginning of the shows. The first few numbers wore that baggy look, and then got undressed real quick in the stage and the wings there in the side of the stage, and then kept going. Ran back out and kept playing. So after one of the shows, we would sometimes sleep over at people's homes. They're very gracious enough to host us, various families. So I remember my best friend at the time and still good friend Zoran Zgans. Zoran and I were staying at a family's home, and after the show, and they were feeding us. We were sitting at their kitchen table, and this was somewhere, I think up in like Michigan or Minnesota or something. And they were like, what I like? I like the musician I like the best, the heavy set the bugarija player. Well, bugarija is the tambura, the type of tambura that I played, and I said, heavy set bugarija player. It can't be me, because I didn't think of myself as heavy set. No, that guy. And they didn't recognize me. They did not know it was me they were talking about, I guess, but they were talking about me. We kept asking questions. That's the same guy that danced. Oh yeah, it's the same guy that danced, and he played the violin, and he played. And I was like, oh boy, they're talking about me, right? Zoran started laughing, heavyset bugarija player, and I started defending myself. No, I had two outfits on. I swear, it wasn't me. It was me, but I had two outfits on, so that's why I looked more heavyset than I am. Anyway, it's very funny. So now, if I'm, of course, I've lost a bunch of weight in the last year or so, but so no more heavyset days, hopefully. But just a funny story. And I thought, I guess I was heavyset, but I didn't know it. I was blaming the outfits. That was an early wake-up call for me. My life should have changed then, but it didn't. I kept going to McDonald's a lot. Those are some other stories. Anyway, speaking of Tamburitsins, let's play one more piece involving the Tamburitsins. This is from the CD Crossing Paths, featuring me on the violin and other instruments, and Alex Fedoriuk, my friend Alex Fedoriuk, who was also in the Tamburitsins, on the cimbalom. This is Crossing Paths. This piece is called The Wine of Life, featuring the heavyset bugarija player. By the way, that bass is a keyboard bass, not an actual physical double bass. We're lazy. Perfect intonation, though. forget, this is dubbed as ethno jazz, so we tried to kind of be very improvisative, introducing a theme, and after the theme is introduced, improvising on top of it, not necessarily in the style, taking some liberties. So we want to introduce a theme and then just improvise on top of it. Here's the melody number 2. Úgy szeretlek, úgy szeretlek. Alex Fedoriuk from Cleveland. Former heavyset cymbal player. Pizzicato. Crossing Paths, Wine of Life. That's better than I remembered it. Ooh. This is Gyanta Band with Polo, Zverbunk, and Frisch. This is Frisch. Another ditty from Tanchaztalalkozo CD 96. Sorry, 1995. So you guys remember Gyanta band. This is the band for the Jászberény, from Jászberény. They're the band for the Jászság dance group. Pál Mishi, of course, the long-standing violinist there. The only guy I know that got away with smoking on a transatlantic flight. He smoked in the bathroom, kneeling down and flushing the toilet every 4 seconds on a flight when he flew from Budapest to New York for one of the camps or tours or something they had. Try that now, Pál Mishi. These guys know a few things about While the Dancers Change, of course. Jászság, one of the great dance groups of Hungary, doing tons of shows every year. That's an arrangement. Wow. I love the pizzicato theme. Don't you? Modulation. Stay there. But come down, please. Well, that arrangement was full of surprises, wasn't it? Gyartató Band from Jászberény. Tanchaztalalkozo CD 1995. I guess it was a CD already then. It could have been a tape. Yeah, maybe probably a tape. Maybe a record. Anyway, those are some nice ditties. Like I'm saying, like 3 or 4 minute snappy little numbers like that. Nice arrangements. I remember it was another Tamburitsan show, and there was a makeshift backdrop. Like the background of the stage. The back of the stage was like this very, kind of artificially put together with these bars and stuff, like a big black curtain. And we were in the middle of the show, and the thing, believe it or not, the entire, I'll call it a backdrop, but it's the back of the stage, collapsed. And it started crashing down. It was probably about 8-9 feet high. Started coming down on top of the musicians and the dancers. I think it was the Polish or the Ukrainian number we were doing. And oh my God. So some of the dancers, the music kept going, of course, and some of the dancers went to fix it, and some stage hands came to help. And that was a big stage malfunction. I think there was somebody changing in the back. And that was exposed as well during this. So as one of the dancers was changing, as we were putting it together, we were probably yelling, "Build that wall!" No, that would come about 30 years later. Anyway, you have to be careful. Make sure when you change, you do it in a privacy, and not an area where the whole stage can collapse on you. Let's go back to. This was like the sister CDs of the Tanchaztalalkozo. These came a little later. For a while, they were doing both at the same time. It was called Új élő népzene, new live folk music. You guys remember those? Új élő népzene. Those were nice CDs too. Again, those were like nice little snappy numbers. A lot of vocal work, a lot of like solo instruments. They wanted to give a showcase, an opportunity for people to kind of be featured that weren't the run-of-the-mill bands. Although this next number is one of the run-of-the-mill bands at the time, the fantastic Hegedűs band, the Hegedűs band. These guys were always so good with arrangements, fantastic. This is music from Kemény Telke, Romanian music from Mezőség, Kemény Telki. I think they were the band for the Honvéd dance ensemble back in the day, but they were always nice with doing the various arrangements. So you'll get, various styles of approaching and a musical arrangement. When you only have 3 or 4 minutes, it's really hard to kind of recreate one of the field recording or something like that. So usually, they take one fast piece and one kind of middle tempo piece and go back to fast or something like that. That's the usual format when you're looking for like a snappy 3 or 4 minute number like this. Accelerando, señor. A callback from the first tune. Hegedűs band from Új élő Nepzene. Very nice arrangement there, really snappy, nice and short, and features of various tempo changes and various instrumentation. That was nice. We're gonna go back to Tanchaztalalkozo in a minute. One of the from 1995, again one of the old ones I've dusted off here, but I wanted to share my last kind of Tamburitsin related story. And at the beginning of the show, there's always everyone's playing an instrument. It's everyone's playing the Croatian tamburica, the tambura. That's why it's called the Tamburitsins at the beginning of the show. But of course, maybe 20 of the 40 people knew how to play it, and the other 20 or 15 people, they really didn't know how to play the instrument. They were dancers that were just kind of looking pretty, and they learned some of plunk 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 kind of stuff. But it was a big job, of course, to tune all these instruments. So during the 4 years I was there, I was one of the tuners of all those tamburas pre-show, together with Mark Spicic, the great Mark Spicic musician, who I've spoken about a few times now on the show. And we would take turns sometimes. I would plunk the G and he would tune all the instruments, and then we'd switch off once in a while when he was burnt out. But as we were running out of time, sometimes we would reach, because everyone's instrument was labeled, and by the time we would reach the end of the line, and we're getting to those last few people who, and I don't want to name any names on this show, but by the time we'd reach the end of the line, we wouldn't really tune those instruments with great care, if you know what I'm saying. We just make sure they're in the general range, because we know not all the strings would be played. In fact, maybe none of them would be played. But anyway, that's kind of mean of us to not tune it up with a great care. But anyway, we were trying to be realistic and get some other stuff done before the show. So here's a nice arrangement from 1995 Tanchaztalalkozo CD. This is called Romános, featuring, get this, nice trio: Kalman Balog on the cimbalom, the famous Dres Mishi on the woodwinds, and Kovács Feri, who's also a violinist and a trumpet player, but I think on this one he plays the violin. This is just called Romános, and Romanian tune, and let's see what it gets. I think it's a very, very lovely arrangement. I'm curious to hear what you think about it. course, Mishi, a very noted a jazz musician, also plays various woodwind instruments and does a lot of crossover work with Hungarian folklore too. He's a fantastic musician, a fantastic guy as well, from Hungary. I guess Freddy grabs the trumpet here. He's off the violin, onto the trumpet. Wow, wonderful. You know, if you're lucky enough to have a cimbalom at your performance with your dance group and playing with the band, you know, we often are at Gyanta we call upon various cimbalom players, and Alex and George Petran and Mokko Józsi in the last couple of years before he moved back to Hungary, and some others. It's a great opportunity while the dancers change to really focus on the cimbalom. I've remember a wonderful cimbalom solo, of course, Ürmös Sándor, the great Ürmös Sándor, from Szalona's band and from the Hungarian State Folk Ensemble, and he goes back far before that as well, and one of the great gypsy musicians from Budapest, and this is a solo of his that I wanted to play for you from the Hungarian State Folk Ensemble's CD called Hungarian Rhapsody, and this starts out lovely, slowly, really shows you the instrument, and then speeds up into a nice solo. Listen to this. A-moll csárdas, the A minor csárdas, except it's in D minor, but anyway. Nice chord. Here comes the bend. Of course. Madonna says that in his opinion, Ürmös Sándor plays the greatest ámolcsárdas in the world. Time to work in some syncopation there too. That's amazing. Let's stay with the cimbalom theme. Another great cimbalom player from Hungary, Unger Balázs. This is him and his friends Unger Balázs és barátai from Új élő népzene, series number 8, or version number 8, whatever that is. Új élő népzene number 8. And this is Perkátov, so Mezőföld area, Dunántúl, a Pakulár és Seprűs. This is the shepherd that lost his sheep. Always good to tell a story, you know, as well while the dancers change. This could be a little nice little musical number with some narration, perhaps, that kind of thing. A little out of tune maybe if you all hear that, but still, hey, it's folk music. They say close enough for folk music, you know? That's Unger Balázs and friends from the old Új élő népzene number 8. Yeah, you know, it's also obviously while the dancers change, and if you have the instruments there on site, you know, you could do a nice little musical number that's something totally different perhaps than what the dancers are doing. Maybe show the audience a new region as well, or new instruments, and that kind of reminds me to play this next arrangement. This is the Csürrentő Együttes, Csürrentő Band. And again, from the Új élő népzene series, my great source for While the Dancers Change music, Új élő népzene at number 6, and this is Seremoly, the Moldavian dance, Moldvai dance, played by Csürrentő, and they have really cool instruments featured in this number. Let's listen to some of this here. That's the kaval, of course. Little juice harp, Jaws harp there. Probably not a kaval, it's probably just one of the long flutes. But anyway, sorry. These guys still kicking, the Csürrentő band, wonderful Moldvai band. Koboz lute solo. The drummer, by the way, has perfect pitch and knows counterpoint theory and everything, but you wouldn't know it because he's playing the drums. That's a joke. Csürrentő, nice band, Moldvai specialists there. Speaking of Kalman Berci and the old days, you know, from the Hungaria, one of the great characters of the Hungarian American community in the New York, New Jersey areas, the very famous Krupinca Attila. Krupi, we called him. He was a dancer in the Hungaria group and a very, very generous guy. And if he's listening, hello Krupi. And he would also host various groups at his house. They slept over there. I remember he Saraferi and Balogh Kalman would watch ninja movies at his house and DVDs. And anyway, he's just a very good friend and a very nice guy. But not a good dancer as well. But in terms of the choreographies, Krupi would always forget everything. He took a lot of heat. The girls always had to lead him through the choreographies instead of the other way around. And back when my parents were directors of the group of Hungaria, they were, Krupi, come here, Krupi, gyere ide, Krupi, állj oda, Krupi, do this, do it this way, Krupi, man, Krupi, you gotta remember the sequence, whatever. And one day Krupi had enough, and Krupi said to my dad, Kalman, if you ever say my name again, I'm gonna kill you. we kind of, the air went out of the room for a second, of course, and I think he was joking, maybe, I don't know, who knows, only Krupi knows. Krupi's a fantastic guy. Took me to a World Cup 1994 semi-final at Giant Stadium, never forget that. And he taught me how to bribe an usher at Madison Square Garden to move up from the upper level to the first row during a Rangers game. And again, one of the musicians he hosted at his house was Csík Jani back in the old Csík Zenekar band days. And again, from these Új élő népzene series, I came across a nice Csík band ditty here, and it's a good short number called Öreges and Cigánycsárdás from Csík Zenekar, but the old setup of the Csík Zenekar back from the 90s. The docile playing of Csík János. This number, of course, Jani and his band recorded onto the Tiszta Szívvel album. That's an old album, and actually I was on that album with Alex Fedorjuk. We played violin and cimbalom on the Kalushári track on the old album Tiszta Szívvel. But this is still from the Új élő népzene Volume 4 version of the song. Music from Erdő Szombattelke mezőség. By the way, it's fading out. It's not me. That's how it is on Ujelu Nepzene. I guess it's a fade out. That's not much of an ending for a number while the dancers change, because you need to end with a plump plump plump, or a pa pleet plot plut, or a pum pum. But anyway, those are the three options, of course, to kind of end a snappy number. But Jonika didn't know that I would be featuring that number on this show. So of course, this is also a good opportunity to educate some audiences, while you're doing while you have a 3 or 4 minute slot in a show like that. I remember a couple of years ago, we my daughter Chenge, she played some classical music during one of these changing numbers, and then we played the folk version of that number. It was like I think it was Bach or something, but we kind of played a folky Baroque folk version of that, and then we kind of brought it all together at the end. So these are the options as well. To you could also do something very kind of crossover-ish or educational, classical into folk, or folk into classical, or whatever. And I've played his numbers before here, but I was thinking, well, who best to exemplify this than the world famous violist and violinist Lakatos Robi and his band The Rave. I'm not sure I played this number yet before. It's called Repui Pava Repui, Repui Pava Repui, and it's from his album Csillagok, which features a lot of Bartók duos, and then the authentic folk version of that, or perhaps an arranged version as well, a super folk arranged. Let's listen into this one, Repui Pava Repui from Lakatos Robi. This is recorded live as well. This piece, of course, associated more with Kodály Zoltán than with Bartók Béla. That's beautiful. Lakatos Robi playing Repui Pava Repui with his band Rave. Isn't that nice? That's actually the first singing we had. I should mention, and I'm not in proponent of having like a slow number while the dancers change. But in this instance, it's so special and so nice. And of course, we haven't had singing all the show. So that was a nice opportunity to have a mixture of kind of the classical style together with the vocal. We speak a lot about gypsy music, and there's a lot of confusion on what that means, and it could be music played by gypsies. It could be the classical kind of Hungarian village music. Excuse me, the classical type of like restaurant music, and we've done previous episodes on this and talked about it. But there's also the really authentic, the village gypsy music, which is kind of played with spoons and with the the konna, with the pots, and guitar and that kind of thing. And one of the great bands that played that type of music is called Koi Yug. They kind of brought it to the forefront, and there's been a lot of bands since then incorporating that style. I like this band called the Szilvási Gypsy Folk Band, and these guys, they combine that old authentic gypsy, real authentic village gypsy style from northeast Hungary with modern instrumentation, with the violin and the clarinet and stuff. And I really like their arrangements. And this is from a live recording. This is my favorite Szilvási song called A Pásztói Halasto. And this is a real nice, fun, upbeat thing with some nice solos as well. Listen to this. The bass there too. Do that scatting. I hope you're well hydrated, because that's a real mouthful there, man. Woo. Bass solo, yeah. Nice. Yeah, the crowd loves that one. Szilvási Gypsy Band. They've been around for a long time, man, since the early 90s. And speaking of longevity, let's play these guys too. Békés Banda. Great band, again, from the early 90s. Still around, still playing. From Békés Csaba. This is music from Balassagyarmat. Balassagyarmat is located at a very, very northern part of Hungary, north of Budapest, close to the Slovak border. Nice arrangement here. Doesn't that sound familiar, huh? We heard that before. Old-time Békés Banda. That's from Táncház Nepzene 2004 CD. But those guys have been around since the early 90s. Still playing. Still see them once in a while out there playing. And I'm sure they're busier than I think, because I just see things on Facebook and on YouTube and the like. Close to the end here, and I was thinking, the other day, I don't know why it came up in my mind, Loiko Felix. You guys know that very eclectic personality, eclectic violinist, and he plays sometimes in duo format. It's kind of really world music-y thing with a guy called Brosnyo Miklos, a wonderful bracha player and a contra player and a classical violist as well. And actually, it's not Miklos, it's Brosnyo Antal. And Brosnyo is he's into folk music much more than Loiko Felix is, I think. So he plays plays on this very large instrument. I know. I was thinking about Loico Felix, and I thought of Broshno. I said, you know what? I have to take out that old CD, that old recording of Broshno and friends. The name of the CD is Parost Ünnep, Peasant Celebration. And it's a really nice CD, actually. Some really cool arrangements. I want to play something from there. He played some music from Ördöngös Füzes. And on this CD, he plays with Molnár Miklós, of course, the great violinist from the Ökrös band. Pintyő as well, Mester Laci on brácsa as well, and the bass player Szabó Csobán Gergő. So this is Broshno and his arrangement of Füzesi, which I think it's a nice one. It's a unique one. It's kind of low key, but it's nice. Listen here. So on this piece here, Broshno actually plays the violin together with Molnár Miki, and then Mester László Pintyő is the sole brácsa player, as is the custom in Füzes, usually just one brácsa player. Fogásolás. This is the 1-2-3, 1-2-3 men's dance. You'll notice or you'll recognize this tune immediately as one of the top 10 greatest hits of Hungarian folklore. The intro to Muzsikás is Hidegen fújnak a szelek. Very nice. Well, we've reached the end here, the last number. Can you imagine that? And this is a I hope you enjoyed this arrangement of, you know, these 3 to 4 minute. Usually we get a lot of the music that we hear Hungarian bands doing wouldn't be considered radio length, right? They'd be like 7-8 minutes, that kind of thing. That's really what it takes to really delve into a material. But here, you know, it's like this would be safe for radio, one would say, you know, 3 to 4 minute length of arrangements. And I was happy to go searching for these type of tunes. for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. So make sure you visit the website for the show, Tanchaz.com. That's Tanchaz.com for a lot of back episodes. This is the 10th episode now for Music and Stories, and I've already put up 10 interviews as well. So we're really building a nice library of material for you to enjoy and listen to. Same goes for the YouTube. Go on YouTube and search for Tanchaz Talk, and you can subscribe and be alerted to all new episodes, but also you could hear all the previous episodes of the show. And please do subscribe to the podcast. If you search on any popular podcast platform, the show Tanchaz Talk, you'll come up with the interviews series, and those interviews are best to be kept up with those through the podcast. You could download them and listen to them at your leisure at any time. Of course, that's the great thing about podcast. So until next time, I hope you have a safe few days or weeks whenever I'll be checking in next with some more music and stories, and of course the interviews as well. But I wanted to leave you with one last number, which is a real classic in my mind. It's called Párhuzam, Parallels, by Meta, the band. This is vintage, old Meta, going back to early 90s. Actually, I found this one, of course, the Tanchaztalalkozo CDs and the discs and the tapes I've been talking about. Well, this one's from 1992, if you can imagine. So, geez, this would be almost 30 years old. And this is Meta playing Párhuzam, where they take one melodic theme, ram pam pam, pam pam pam, and you'll see how they play with that to end today's show. So thanks again for being with me, and I'll see you next time. There it goes. Of course, this is music from Dunántúl, from Western Hungary. Nice. A little interplay with the braccio, contra, and the bass there. And here comes the bagpipe, tudo.